Pod Me If You Can is brought to you by The Glove by Australian author David Farrell. Head to facebook.com/theglovebook for more information.
Welcome to Pod Me If You Can. I'm David Farrell. Today on the show, it is Stories of Lost Souls. Now, this film stars Hugh Jackman, Keira Knightley, Paul Bettany, Wee Man, Sarah Silverman, Jeff Goldblum, Ilena Douglas, and so many more. Cate Blanchett makes an appearance as well. And I'll tell you more in a sec.
Pardon me if you can. Movie reviews.
In the spirit of this YouTube channel, the creators of this film, Stories of Lost Souls, have found obscure short films with famous people in them, and cobbled them together to turn it into a feature-length production, with its own IMDb entry. They've done some creative editing where they've put in basically title cards, chapter cards, to indicate the beginning of each short film. And they've chopped off the credits of each short film, which at the end is some kind of hideous Frankenstein of credits with bloopers all at the end and a mishmash of tones. I think the best way to break this down is to take you through the 7 short films. In the short film The Same, a wordless 10-minute short film with moody music, Wee Man, best known from Jackass, is neighbours with Josh Hartnett's character and Jackie Maxwell's character. Wee Man climbs up a beanstalk of air vents to watch her brush her hair and collect her dolls. He murders his goldfish and imagines himself unable to reach her as a merman stranded on the beach. Jealous, he then murders Josh Hartnett through a series of vents into his house, and here's the kicker. He sews Hartnett's legs onto his body. Just so you know, he still has his own upper body with short arms and long legs, and now he looks like a sort of T-Rex of a man. But the double twist is she has no legs anyway, or at least pretend doll's legs, and he dies from the operation on himself. It's a very weird way to start this compilation, and you've really got to wonder what Josh Hartnett was thinking taking this basically 2-scene moment. The second short, Euston Road, starring Paul Bettany, goes for 7 minutes, and it's a weird game of con artistry. He places 7 items in front of a man. He says he gets 7 yes or no questions, and if he can figure out how he lost his money tonight, he can keep any of the items in front of him, one of which is the key to his expensive car. Every time he answers no, he gets a drink, so this guy's basically buying Paul Bettany 7 drinks. Now here's the kicker, I definitely guessed the twist ending of this, which is that it's a Monopoly board, Euston Road, and unfortunately this made it very boring, but also kind of pointless. Like, who cares how this stranger lost their money? It's not that interesting. You would walk away, you wouldn't sit down and... The guesses the guy makes are all ludicrous, and he guesses things about being a pimp, it's stupid. This one was really lost on me. The third film is written and directed by Deborah Lee-Furness, that's Hugh Jackman's wife, and it's her directorial debut, and she puts Hugh Jackman in the short film. She also has access to Michael Gambon, Joanna Lumley, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, and Andy Serkis is in the film as the man with 1,000 faces. They're all lining up to buy tickets to his show. There are only 8 tickets left to this sold-out performance of The Man of 1,000 Faces, and it's everybody waiting in line. The short film's called Standing Room Only. Now the film has a twist in that Andy Serkis is dressed up as an old woman and then a Rastafarian man who takes a picture of them at the end of the short. You definitely see this coming. There is so much makeup on Andy Serkis's face, but you can tell it's him. It's not an old woman at all. Also, at the end, the twist of the fact that it's him, they could have had a real Kaiser Soze moment, or a pulling his mask off Mission Impossible style, but instead they have him walk away and some of the characters go, hey, wait a minute, and just point. It was really weakened. Written, directed, and starring Ilena Douglas, the film Supermarket was probably my favourite. It also had appearances from Daryl Hannah, Sarah Silverman, and as well Jeff Goldblum. In the film, she's working at the supermarket and she's recognised by everyone. Daryl Hannah works there too, Sarah Silverman performs in aisle 5, and Jeff Goldblum, who happens to be shopping there, improvises a whole scene and it's very funny. This one looked like a lot of fun, like they just had a little wacky idea one day and it sort of unfolded that way, like it's very pleasant and a lot of fun. At 11 minutes, it doesn't really need to impress for long, but when Jeff Goldblum appears, it really takes flight. There is one part where they bump the camera that annoyed me, and also a very out-of-focus shot when they cut to a close-up of the manager. That was followed by one of the worst films, New Year's Eve. The film takes place on New Year's Eve, when a cab driver is bringing two gentlemen, one is Stephen Magnan from Episodes, to a party, and he gets invited along. At the party, he meets Keira Knightley, and they sort of play this will they, won't they. He's playing 32, and she's playing 17. And his friend tries to meet women while the cabbie makes himself at home. This one was way too long, and it didn't have an ending. I mean, you shouldn't introduce a film called New Year's Eve and then have it finish 10 minutes before everybody counts down. Next was Bangers, which starred Cate Blanchett from 1999. It was directed by her husband, Andrew Upton. In the short, she turns up at home, complaining to her mother about work, talking about her people skills. It's largely a big monologue for Cate Blanchett as she discusses potatoes and talks to the cat. She drinks and mashes the potatoes and seems to want a sensation, which is why she sticks her hands into the potato mash. The short isn't particularly clever. It could be argued it's about mental illness. It could be argued that she's an alcoholic. She could just be lonely. It's not completely clear what her problem is. But either way, it's captivating enough because it's Cate Blanchett. The final film, A Whole New Day, shows us James Gandolfini in a 16-minute short where he wakes on the floor after being blackout drunk, and his wife has taken everything out of the apartment. Unfortunately, I saw this twist coming as well. 3 of the films were ruined by seeing the twist, and the twist here is that James Gandolfini is so blackout drunk he's woken up in a different apartment. His wife hasn't left him, she's next door. And we spend a really long time getting to that. So long, in fact, that I thought this short film might have been made because they had a larger script in mind, and then they were going to make certain scenes from that script in order to get buyers interested in investing in the whole feature. It felt like a segment of a feature film. They were introducing characters, and I was going, what are we doing here? Like, where is this going? Surely, we see the twist coming, and just because it was 16 minutes long, it felt like a segment of a feature that we were watching. Apparently there's an 8th short film on some editions called Sniper 470, which stars Billy Boyd from Lord of the Rings. Apparently it's over 25 minutes long, so I'm kind of glad it wasn't on this collection. This is definitely a cash grab. They're all very different in tone. All of the films look different. Some are shot on digital, some on more of a high definition. The text quality of the title cards is deplorable. It looks like the first font that appears in iMovie when you select a font. The one thing I will say they did correctly was on this DVD, these are all actually shots from the films that the actors appear in. This is what Hugh Jackman looks like in the film. That is a shot of Josh Hartnett as he walks past Wee Man in the corridor and barely gets his face on the screen. So it's not false advertising in that sense. A lot of the films we see, the actors look totally different on this YouTube channel. The actors look totally different from their appearance in the film. At least they've been true to that here. You'll see it in a bargain bin for $2 and you'll think, I've never heard of that film. Hugh Jackman, Cate Blanchett, who are these actors? This probably gets done a lot more than I'm aware of. Grabbing up a bunch of short films and editing them together like this. Thanks so much for watching Pod Me If You Can this year. I've put out a different video with an obscure actor in it every week this year, and it's been a great response. Much appreciated, and we'll be back in 2019.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our podcast at www.podmeifyoucan.com.